Good morning, everyone. Hi, I hope you're having a blessed day. It's Renee, and I'm excited to be on this journey through Psalms with y'all. Today we will be working in Psalms 1, very first one. God, impressed upon my heart. I've just always loved this psalm, especially verses 1 through 3. It says, "How happy is the one who does not walk in the advice of the wicked, or stand in the pathway with sinners, or sit in the company of mockers. Instead, his delight is in the Lord's instruction, and he meditates on it day and night. He is like a tree planted beside flowing streams that bears its fruit in its season, and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever he does prospers." And then it goes on about the wicked. But I love just that imagery of a tree planted by the streams. So today we are going to be working on a tree, and we are going to be painting in our Bibles with Q-tips, little, bunches of Q-tips. We're going to try this out. I've never done this in my Bible. I've done this on canvas. And so you all know, I took this idea from a lady called the Art Sherpa. She's on YouTube. And y'all, if you have not checked her out, she is incredible. She shows you how you can paint these incredible sceneries for super easily. She makes it easy for beginners. So I'm going to take one of her ideas, and she gives you doodles like this. She gives you doodles, I guess you would call them, or, little sketches that you can take and download for free and you can use, and then, you can do whatever you want with them. So I'm going to take her image of a tree. It had a tree with a lady with a swing, but actually I'm just going to take the image of a tree, and I just wanted the general outline of this. So I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to take her idea and kind of, again, morph it into my own, like how I always do. But if you want to check her out, I'm not affiliated with any of the people that I mention in my videos. These are just people that I've found, throughout my time and research into, different crafting things. But she is incredible. She does some incredible work. So and like I said, she gives you free little doodles that you can use in your own work. So now, if none of you have seen carbon paper, I used to have a light box to trace things. But in a Bible this big, it's a lot easier. I found it's a lot easier just to use regular old carbon paper. This is a great way to transfer images into your Bible. And like I said, I'm not going to use this whole image. I'm just using like a piece of it. I just want the general outline of this, so I have it, so I know where I'm using it, in my Bible, where I'm going to be drawing things. And I don't want this trunk to be as thick as this, because I want to try to keep it within my border here. So I'm not going to make it as thick as this. So I'm just going to kind of go like this and follow along. Just a little bit on the inside of it. As you can see, I'm not tracing it exactly. I'm just getting just the feel of it. And then just lightly, I'm just doing this just so I know where I'm going to go, because I'm gonna kind of do my own. And I don't even know if I'm pressing hard enough. We'll see if this goes through. Oh yeah, see? Okay. I don't want a lot of carbon on here because, yeah, I just want a very, very light outline over there. Okay. So there we go. So see the carbon paper. So anytime you want to transfer something to your Bible, carbon paper is a great way to do it. Super easy. You just put the carbon side down, put your image on top, and trace, and then you get your image in your Bible. Super easy. So today we are going to be using acrylic paints. So if you don't want to paint over your words, which I know a lot of people don't like doing, you might want to do this as a tip-in, Or you can do what I did and just kind of keep it off the words and just work on your border if you want to do that. But this is going to, there's going to be sections here probably that do go over a lot of the words, but that's why I wanted to try to move it over here so we won't be covering a lot of the words, or as many as we can, because acrylic paint does get, it's opaque. So you're not going to be able to read your words through it depending on how heavy-handed you are with the paint. So we are going to be using, let's see, a variety of colors here. So you can use whatever you want, but we're going to paint a background. So blue sky, I have some blue and green and dark blue. I have some yellow and white. Here I have black, which I just stuck my finger in. Always have paper towel nearby because y'all know I make a mess. This is ochre, a brown, a purple, a pink, or this is, let me see. Actually, this one was a burnt sienna. This is the ochre. So, sorry. So it's like a darker yellow, a lighter brown. This is what we're going to be using for the trunk. This is what we're going to be using for the sky, and then some of the leaves. So, but you can use whatever colors you want. You can follow along, or you can watch what I do and then maybe go and do it on your own. So let me grab a seat here. And we are going to attempt this, y'all, without making a huge mess. Now I have a couple different brushes. I have a wider brush here, you know, then I have a smaller one, and then I have an even smaller one, a little tinier one. So these are the three I think that I'll be using, and then the Q-tips. And all you want to do is get a bunch of Q-tips and just wrap them in little bunches like this. It doesn't matter how many are in a bunch. I just wrapped them with a rubber band, or even if you have ties. But this is something that you can use. Just look around your house and find things that you can use. If you don't have Q-tips, you can find something else with like a, you know, like a round surface, you know, because it's kind of like we're going to do pointillism or dots. So Q-tips are an easy way to do that. So we'll see how this works. You can all follow along with me, and hopefully we will be able to do this. Okay, so here I have water. It's a little dirty because I've been rinsing my brushes out. But all you need is just some water and your paint. And like I said, I've been using acrylic paint. You can use, if you don't want to use acrylic, if you want to do this with watercolor, you can do it with watercolor, all the painting part. I'm not sure how well the watercolor will work with the dabbing part. But if you want to use tempera paint, acrylic paint, any other kind of paint, watercolor may work. Actually, like, I'm debating, as long as it's not super watered down, it should work. I mean, you can try it and see. I've never done it with watercolor, so I can't say it will work or won't work. You'll have to just try it. But the first thing I'm going to do is do a background, like the sky. We want the sky to be blue. So all I'm gonna do is mix a little bit of light blue with a little bit of the darker blue and just a little bit of the green. And then I have a piece of paper here on the side that I kind of play with so I can see, you know, before I put it in my Bible, I can see if it's where I want it to be. And then you can mix in a little white if you want it a little lighter. I'm gonna do a light wash, and I'm thinking the sun, I'm gonna pretend like the sun is shining through this way. So it's gonna be lighter here in the middle, darker towards the edges. Oh, and also so you know, I did prep my page again, as I speak about in all my videos. When I'm doing paint or something with the dark, you know, dark, maybe watercolor, paints, inks, things like that, I always prep my page with clear, transparent gesso. And all I do is put a little, you know, daub on the page, or like a dollop on the page. I take a paper towel and I just wipe it all over the page. You can take a brush, wipe it over your page, whatever, and then let it dry. You can air dry it, you can dry it with a heating tool, whatever. That way it just protects your page so things do not seep in to the other side of, you know, your Bible page. I find it helps whenever I am using any kind of paints, like I said, inks, or even if I'm going to get heavy-handed with watercolor. But a lot of times you really don't have to prep your page. I just do Again, when I'm especially using those 3 mediums. If I'm just doing stickers or gluing or, you know, maybe just a light watercolor, I don't prep my page. And you'll see throughout the videos, throughout the series, which pages I prep and which pages I don't and why. So, okay, so let's try this. I'm gonna put some water on here because I want it to be kind of thin. There we go. And I am just going to cover my whole page right now with the color. I also have, let's do this as I'm speaking. It's hard for me to craft and talk at the same time, y'all. I also have my plastic laminated sheet under here. This is a sheet that I just laminated on both sides. So it's plastic. It protects the sheet from, you know, the sheet beneath. I can paint over, there's no problem. Yeah, it gives me a surface, like a harder surface to, you know, paint on or to do my work on, anything like that. If you have a bigger brush, you could use a bigger brush for this. This is probably one of, I guess I might have a bigger brush somewhere, but I wasn't sure. And as you can see, I can still, if you go light enough, you can still see your words through the paint. If you keep it light enough. And I'm just gonna cover literally my whole page with this because we can go over things. So the faster you work on this, probably the better for this background part. So once you get your color that you like, you want to lay your color down pretty quickly. And it doesn't matter if you have streaks, kind of gives it a little bit of dimension. And just keep going back and forth until you're happy with it. A lot of this will be covered anyway, so okay, almost there. Okay, now like I said, the sun is going to be coming through here. We're going to pretend the sun's coming through there. So we are going to want to take some white and some yellow. I'm going to water it down a little bit. Some white, some yellow, and a little bit of blue. And make the sun shine through here. That's why I say you want to work a little bit quickly here because you want to be able to blend these. And like I said, I usually do this kind of painting on canvas, which I wasn't sure how the paper would take to the paint and painting over multiple times and things like that. So we shall see while we do this how it works. Make sure this is down here. Okay, now as you can see, it's starting to get thicker the more layers you go, and you're not going to be able to see your words through. I can still see them, but it's probably gonna get to a point where I can't see my words. So if that's gonna bother you, one thing you might wanna do is make this as a tip-in, like do this on a piece of paper, a separate piece of paper, and then you can tape it in and it'll flip. So you still have the image here, but you can flip it over and then you'll still see all your words and such. I can still see the words here, so you know, I'm not too worried about that, but I know a lot of people don't like to paint over their words in the Bible, which is totally fine. There's other ways you can do that. Or you can just paint just in, like I said, the margin. Okay, I'm just gonna try to get rid of some of these streaks that I have. And just kind of go in and smooth it all out a little bit more. And like I said, a lot of this will be covered with the tree part, but for the parts that aren't, we want the sky to kind of peek through. So I'm trying to make sure there's no streaks where the sky is probably going to peek through. Okay, so I'm gonna put my brush in the water and I am going to take this, and the good thing about this is if you have a wet or a damp rag, you can literally just wipe everything off and then you won't have a mess. It's already drying. But just like that, easy to clean. And then you can put it back under. Okay, now I'm gonna dry this real quick. My heating tool is a little off to the side because my cord only reaches so far. So I'm gonna dry this part. As you can see, you can still see the words. And once this dries, it's gonna dry a little lighter as well. So you can still see the words if you go light enough with your paint. But like I said, for those of you who don't want to paint over your words, you can just paint on a separate piece of paper and then tape it in. Let me move this over just a little bit. I just want to make sure this is dry, because if it's not dry, your paint will start blending into each other. Okay, so there we go for that part. Now we are going to make the trunk of our tree. And so you can still see, I don't know if you can you see that? You can still see the carbon paper, the little outline of the tree. I'm going to use that as a guide. And so now we're gonna go in with my chair. It's gonna be pretty dark. We're gonna go in with some black and brown. So a little bit of black, a little bit of brown, just like that. And I'm just gonna kind of outline where my tree is going to go. My tree trunk, I should say. And this I don't mind being so dark because, again, like I said, I put it over to the side where it's not going over any of the words. So this part could be as dark as I want. Just kind of smooth it out. And don't worry about the bottom part because we're going to be covering that. But this is great this is why I like to trace something in, just so I have a general idea of where the tree trunk will go. And I don't even have to think about it too much. So I just follow along, and we're gonna cover this. So we'll go back in a little bit later and do some more of that. Okay, so there's one, just as easy as that. So just a little bit of black, a little bit of brown, and then go to the other trunk. I hope y'all are having a very blessed week. I have been having so much fun doing these videos. I have a lot of process videos that I'll be uploading in the next, I guess, few weeks. And I am just so excited to be here with y'all and to be on this journey. It has been so fun going through the Bible again. Like I said before, I've been through the Bible a few times, but it's always great to go through it again. And every time I go through it, of course, it's a living book. I find, you know, I learn something new every time, and I, you know, new verses stick out, new chapters stick out to me or apply to my life. You know, it's so cool. Okay, so the next thing you're gonna do is, let's see, we're gonna do some black and brown, or brown and yellow ochre. So a little bit of this, we're gonna mix like a little bit of this kind of brown, this like reddish brown, and then this darker brown. So a little bit of lighter brown and this darker brown. And that is gonna kind of go through here. So as this trunk is kind of twisting and turning, you can just twist and turn your paint with it. And this is going to give it like a different kind of highlight on this side, I guess you would say. So just kind of go in with a little bit of the brown. I'm going to wire down my brush a little bit. It's a little bit of lighter brown, a little bit of darker brown. And pick a side. Now the sun's shining from this way, so this is the darker side. So you would probably want your darker colors on the farther side, away from where the sun is shining. And then we're gonna put highlights on the side where the sun is hitting the tree. Okay, so you're gonna take some of this yellow ochre. The yellow, can you all see me in the, yeah, okay, so yellow ochre and this lighter brown, and you can just mix it a little bit. And you're gonna take it along the side like this and kind of twist it up, because this is like a twisty trunk. Yeah, I mean, you've seen trees like that where the trunk kind of twists and turns, and this gives it a little bit of, I guess, movement. And it doesn't matter if your colors are perfectly matched or, you know, whatever. You just kind of take your brush and twist it as you go. If you want your paint thinner, just add a little bit more water. You can see, just kind of twist it with the tree trunk. Okay. And then the last thing you want to do is add a few highlights. So that means you're going to add some white to your paint. Anytime you want to add a highlight, you're going to add some white to your paint. So take your yellow ochre, which is kind of like a yellowish brownish. Take your white, and then you're going to go in. So the sun's shining this way, so it's hitting the tree on this side. So you want your highlights on this side, and you're kind of like twisting it with the tree. So you're kind of just, you know, going along the edge and twisting with the tree. So you can have one coming up like this way, like that. We gotta do our other branch. So the other branch is gonna come through here and kind of come up like this. Let's see. Okay, and then you go in and add your, I guess you would call it details. So if you think the trees here, this branch is probably casting a shadow on that tree. So you want to go back in with your black and your dark brown and maybe, you know, highlight the fact that this is a little bit darker right here. This is starting to blend into I might have to dry this. If your paint is wet, it starts to blend into each other. When you dry your paint, you can paint over it. So let's see what happens here. Yeah, it's starting to blend a little, but we're getting a little. Okay, and then back here, it's dark. And let's say we've got like a little dark spot through here. This just kind of gives your tree a little bit more movement, more dimension versus just like making a brown trunk. Okay. And I like the little jagged parts and things because it kind of looks like bark. Okay, so let's dry this part. So what do y'all think so far? So there's your tree trunk. Super easy to do. So let's dry this. And then I'll show you the back part of the page. I'll show you, we'll check and see if it's going through. As you can see, I'm heavy-handed. I'm putting black on here. It's a dark picture. But with the gesso, it shouldn't go through, but we'll see if I apply the gesso right. Sometimes I miss a spot or two, and then it might go through a little bit, but you can always cover, if it goes onto the other page, you can always cover it by using, you know, stickers or painting over it or, you know, drawing over it or whatever. There's always ways to fix that. Okay, there's just a few little wet spots still. Okay, that should be good. Okay, so let's turn this over and see how we are doing. Look at that. It's not going through the paper at all. And it's a really dark color. So if you prep your page, you shouldn't have any problems. Okay, now I'm gonna move this water because if you all know me, I will probably mess up, make a mistake. Okay, and I see some paint here that I dropped somehow onto my table. So let me wipe this up because we do not want to make a mess. Because I am known to do that. Okay, so now we get to do the fun part. We get to take our Q-tips. So you're just gonna bunch a bunch of Q-tips together and you, like I said, wrap it up with some rubber bands or twisty ties or whatever. Let me make sure we're in camera here. Okay, now we're gonna be doing the leaves. So on this, let me pull this. Okay, so we're gonna do our dark leaves first. And on my little cheat sheet, I guess, I put where we're gonna do dark and lighter. You figure the dark's gonna be back here because the sun's shining through here. So sometimes if this helps me, I'll put little notes on my sheet so then I can just kind of craft and not really have to think too hard on this. So I'm gonna mix, make sure all of your Q-tips are flat, like make sure they're all even, and you're gonna mix the purple and the pink to get like a magenta feel, like a purplish feel, and then you are gonna just start dabbing in the leaves. And again, it doesn't matter if it's all one color. If you get more pink, in one versus more purple in another, it really, you know, that gives it the dimension. So you want just like a variety of colors through here. So, and you just dab. It's just like playing with paints, like when you were a kid in school. And you want to make sure that the sky kind of shows through in some spots because, you know, that's how trees are. Leaves don't, you know, go everywhere. And you're just gonna dab all the dark colors in first. That's another reason why you might want to have a piece of plastic or something behind here. So if you go over your page, it's no big deal. You have the plastic there to catch it. I'm gonna put some more pinks so we get some different colors in here. And just kind of go through and look how many leaves. It's like, look how much you can get done in a short amount of time just with this bunch of Q-tips. You don't have to go in there and paint every leaf by itself. This makes it a lot easier, a lot faster. And you get this really cool effect too. So your tree's like coming down this way, it's going over this way. That's why I said some of this, it might cover up some of the words, but the rest I can see all the words still. So it just depends on, you know, what exactly you want to cover or not cover. Okay, so my tree's gonna come down here, but it's gonna get lighter because the sun is shining through. So all my dark spots, you figure, are gonna be up here and back here. Some parts are gonna be darker than others. And just keep going back and forth into your colors like that. So look at that. All of a sudden, it's starting to look like a tree, isn't it? We're getting there. Look at that. It's so cool. Okay, so then you just want to go a little bit lighter. So now you're going to add a little bit. So you're going to flip your Q-tips over, make sure they're all even. And then you're going to add a little bit of yellow and white to your magenta, which is this color that you kind of mixed already. So just grab a little bit of yellow and white, if I can. Let's grab a little bit of yellow, a little bit of white, a little bit of magenta, and let's see what kind of color we're getting here. Okay. Oops, that one's all white. Let's get some, a little bit. And then you're gonna kind of go back in to the lighter parts. So a little bit of yellow, a little bit of white, a little bit of that pink, mix it all up. And then you're gonna go into the lighter parts and you're gonna bring the tree part down. And you're, you know, just kind of think, you know, there's some lighter parts of a tree in different areas. That was a big clump. We'll just fix that. Need a little bit more pink. Okay, I am running out of the pink, so I am going to squirt a little bit more because I want some more of this pink versus all purple. So I'm gonna kind of go in, and so you can make, if you didn't want your leaves all pink or purple, you could do blue, you could do orange, you can make it fall colors, whatever you want. Now, if you start seeing that your Q-tips are starting to get like blobby or whatever, you can just throw those to the side. Here, we'll throw these over here. Throw them to the side and get another bunch of Q-tips. So I have a few, so you might want to have a few bunches just in case. Usually you're going to go through maybe 3 or 4 bunches while you're doing this project. It just depends on, you know, how well your Q-tips hold up. Some of the cheaper Q-tips are going to fray a lot easier versus maybe like the more expensive Q-tips or the makeup type Q-tips, I guess. tree to come down here. And I want it over here. Ooh, that was a good color right there. So yeah, you just kind of fool around with it and just start. If you need a little more darker spots, just go back in. You can put on your music and just kind of enjoy the process and just listen to your music and just keep working on your tree. So just keep going in and doing either dark or light spots depending on where you think the sun's coming through or not. But if the light is shining through here, you figure this is the part that is going to be a lot lighter. So now I'm going to go back in with the white and yellow because I want the yellow now to kind of show through a little bit more because the sun is shining and it's reflecting off those leaves in certain spots. So usually it's easier to work from dark to light. You can always go back in and make things a little bit darker, but it's harder to make things lighter. So, well, that didn't make sense. For acrylics, actually, sorry, excuse me, it's easier to work dark to light because you can go in over with white over the dark and cover the dark, as you saw. When I am inking, it's easier to go from light to dark because you can always add more ink, but it's harder to erase the ink. So it's depending on what kind of medium you're using, it is easier to go light to dark or dark to light, depending. With this kind of paint, it's easier to go from dark to light because you can always lighten it up. Like with this kind of technique, if that makes sense. I'm just gonna wipe this off because I don't wanna make more of a mess and smear it. So we are almost done with our tree. So let's see. I'm gonna put a little bit more leaves coming down here over my trunk. And I'm gonna put a little bit darker spots back here. And sometimes it helps if you like stand up and take yourself away from the picture and kind of look at it, you know, when you're not so close up, and then you can see where maybe, you know, a different part needs a little bit different highlights or what have you. Okay, I think I'm done with that. I think that's pretty good. If I keep going, again, as y'all will soon learn, I'm heavy-handed with things and I like to just keep going and not stop. So I'll stop here. And now we're just gonna do the bottom. So look how fast and easy that is to make this gorgeous, gorgeous tree. Super easy with Q-tips. Now we're just gonna do the bottom part, and it's the same as the tree. So the light's shining this way. So I'm gonna take my light side with the yellow, the white, and a little bit of pink, kind of mix it up a little bit, and just gonna dab down here. So like this is the ground. Let's get some, a little bit pinks. Okay, and then I'm gonna turn it around and go back into my darker. We're gonna kind of blend that a little bit, blend it down. And you're gonna get darker as you go away because the light is shining this way, and this is the shadow side. So all you really need, you don't even need a palette here. If you had just maybe wax paper or just something that you can put your paint on, that's all you need. I've had this little palette, so I figured I might as well use it. Okay, and I'm gonna switch back to my lighter and just do some highlights. You know, because some parts reflect the light. And then some parts have some darker areas again. Like that might be a little dark spot. And there we go. There we go. So that's that part. So now we're going to dry this and see what it looks like when it's all dry. So let's dry this off. Oh, I love the colors. So pretty. This was kind of the image I had in my head when I saw the Art Sherpa do something like this. I was like, oh, that's so pretty. We can do that in our Bibles. So I just love this vibrant tree and the sun shining, kind of showing like, it's like God's love shining on us. And we could be prosperous and productive and vibrant like this tree. Well, actually, we're not done with the tree. We have to dry this, and we got to finish the little branches. We got to add a few more details. But before we do that, this part has to be completely dry. Otherwise, if we go in and do our branches, it'll smear all the leaves, and we don't want that. We don't want that to happen. Gotta make sure it's dry, especially this top part. So let me get to this top part. I gotta make sure it is dry. Okay, hopefully that should be pretty good. Okay, so now what you're going to do is go in with your small brush again. Actually, this small brush. We're going to use this little tiny brush now. And we're going to go and finish our branches of our tree. So this was kind of coming around. So we're going to go back into our brown and our lighter brown, you know, like our, whatever this one is, the burnt sienna, and a little bit of black. And we're gonna start where this branch was and kind of finish bringing it over. So you're gonna push harder at the beginning and then kind of lift your brush up so it tapers off at the end, like really lightly. So you get that thin effect as it goes. So, you know, the branch comes out here, and then you're gonna lift your brush as you go. Now, see, since we used Q-tips, you're gonna have some raised parts of paint on your paper. So you might have, it's gonna be a little bumpy in spots. So you're gonna have to just kind of go around those bumps. But kind of think of how a tree goes. It's got like little branches hanging out like that, and it comes up. You know, this might branch off like this, you know, or go down like this. There might be a little branch coming down this way. So it's always thicker by the trunk part, and then it just kind of tapers off. Let's do a little bit. I need some more water. So just keep going in with the black and browns and just kind of tapers off. Okay. And then maybe it kind of comes up like this. We're going to go right off the page. And last one, we'll kind of go that way. Just have fun with it. Figure out where the branches are going for you. And then this one's going to come up. Maybe go like that. With maybe one kind of coming out this way. Okay, and then we got this one over here that came this way. There we go. And now we just finish up with the highlights on those branches because it looks kind of weird if you just like do dark. So go back, you're gonna do the same thing that you did with the first branches. You're gonna take a little bit of the yellow ochre and the burnt sienna, the lighter brown, and you're just gonna kind of come back in and just give each branch like a little brown swoop. Just kind of go through it. So it doesn't look like it just abruptly ended and you went from one color to black or whatever, you know. And then we'll put a little bit of highlights. Just bring that down. And then do the other branch. And these just have to be just little subtle, you know, it doesn't have to be real, you know, detailed, because when you stand far, when you're looking at it, it looks pretty cool. Like it doesn't have to be like super detailed is what I'm trying to say. Just kind of do a little swoop. Okay, then we're gonna add a little bit of white with the yellow ochre, and maybe a tad of the little brown. And then, so the sun's coming through here, so you figure like this side, there'll be like little highlights as you go. Just in certain spots, not all the way through. I got a big piece of white on my brush. And then if it's too white for you, just go back in with some dark and kind of cover it up. No biggie. Just need a little bit more water. You can always go in with a little bit of water and kind of smooth it out. Okay, there's a yellow piece right there, so I'm gonna cover that with some brown. A little bit of black, make it dark again. So the really great thing about this paint is if you make a mistake or you painted something that, oh my gosh, I didn't want it like that, just go back in with some water, wipe it off, cover it up with a color of paint. You can do it as long as it's wet. Even if it's dry, you can cover it up with, you know, a different color of paint or whatever. It's not that big of a thing. You can always go back in and fix it. And there you go. So there is your finished product. Hope you all enjoy. Look at that. There you go. You can see a close up. And then what I might do is put my scripture here with some stencil, but I have to wait until this is completely dry. So I'll take a picture of it when I'm finished. I'm thinking maybe writing something like, happy is he, or so happy, with the verse reference. So as you can see, you can still see the verses through this part. You cannot see it up here. So this is Psalm 1 right here, covered by the leaves. But that's okay with me because this is my painting Bible. This is my journaling Bible. This is not the Bible I study from. I have another Bible that I study from. But for those of you who don't want to cover your words, you can keep the tree over on the side here and maybe up around the verses, or you can do this on a totally separate piece of paper. Do that and then take a piece of washi tape or something and tape your piece of paper in like this, and then it'll flip open, or you can tape it in like this and it'll flip open this way. It's called a tip-in. You can even have it flip up. You can have it flip down. So either way, you can do that. And then that way, you can also, when this flips open, either side, you have room to journal on the back. You can put some lined paper or whatever you want on the back. You have more room here to journal another picture if you want on the inside. So I do tip-ins a lot as well. But I really wanted to start off Psalms with this vibrant picture of just this prosperous tree and the light shining in, and God, like it just makes me happy. Something like a picture like this just makes me happy. So I really wanted to start Psalms out with this happy picture because Psalms is one of my favorite books of the Bible. I mean, I love all the books of the Bible, and I really love the Old Testament, but Psalms is really, I just love the fact that we can pour our hearts out to God and He listens no matter what. So anyways, I'm so glad you all joined me today. I hope you enjoyed this process, and you don't even have to do this one, but maybe you might want to try doing something with Q-tips or this little dabbing, type of technique, I guess you can say. But either way, hope you have fun. I would love to see your creations, and I will see you all next time in the next video. Have a great, blessed day. I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.